Somehow, some way, Toby Fox has made it so that there's discourse. I guess not Toby Fox, but there's discourse surrounding Undertale, and even though the game came out a decade ago, and it all surrounds just a tweet that Toby Fox made that just made all hell break loose on the internet. I kind of wanted to talk about how this like developed over time and just how much of a massively overblown issue it is, and it has become. So it begins here. Now this tweet obviously is showing images from his Blue Sky account. Now I didn't want to log into Blue Sky on my computer. And so we're just going to use these screen grabbed images for what Toby Fox, I guess, blue skied on Blue Sky for what is causing all the big issues. So it starts with him saying a message for my fans in Latin America, and then he puts out two images of statements. Recently, Fangamer asked me to make a post in Japanese regarding the translation of off. Well, in the responses to that post, I noticed some frustration from Latin American fans. Let me address a few of those now. There is a officially licensed Undertale concert series that unfortunately has no shows planned in Latin America. I did retweet its schedule on request, but I have hardly any involvement with the concert series and no input on where they perform. The organizers have heard the enthusiasm from Latin America, and personally I think it would be great to have performances there. I hope it works out. Fangamer's shipping costs to Latin America are prohibitively expensive. As just one of the Fangamer's clients, I am aware of this problem, and I've asked them about possible solutions before. I think it would be amazing if they could find affordable shipping to Latin America and other affected regions, but they have expressed that it's a huge logistical hurdle. The other shipping methods they've tried had lost a package rate of over 50%. So I think Fangamer is interested in finding solutions, so I hope that we can figure out some way to get affordable merch to Latin American fans. Fangamer is very easy to work with and truly passionate about the things they make. I really trust them and would prefer to collaborate. But this is like actually what made all hell break loose. Now, I have not seen too much controversy about the concert and the shipping, but this is what made every single person that I've seen unhappy with what he's saying. Unfortunately, there are no translations for Undertale into other languages besides Japanese. That includes Spanish and Brazilian Portuguese, but also every other language: Chinese, Korean, Russian, French, German, Italian, and more. I know it sucks that there are no other official translations for Undertale, but I want to make it clear that this isn't because I have a grudge against other countries. It's because if I release something official, I want it to match my vision. I was only able to do this for the Japanese version because I know Japanese myself, and I worked very closely with our brilliant translator to thoroughly check the text. I'm not against official translators for other languages if we could make it work the same way. In the past, I've looked into various options with my publisher, 8 to 4, but nothing has come of that yet. Maybe I should try a different approach. I'm very happy that there is an unofficial translation on PC. Considering I don't understand other languages, letting fans separate the game without the burden of being officially perfect is amazingly helpful. For Deltarune, it's just not feasible from a development standpoint to support other languages right now, since it would make the game take longer to come out. I want to have many fans across the world, and of course that means Latin America too. I don't want anyone to feel left out. I'm sorry if my silence made it seem like I was ignoring anyone. So this entire thing seems like a really well thought out and really like nice addressing of the concerns that Toby Fox has and like that he sees with his fans. And that, it's not really any sort of disrespect to other countries. He's just simply saying that, hey, I have a certain image and a certain like idea for how I want my game to come across. And the only way I can understand like the text and like the jokes and the story and the plot and all that stuff gets across is if I understand the language itself that it is being translated into. I don't feel comfortable with translating it into those other languages, and that's why it hasn't been translated into these other languages yet. But he also does say like he's completely fine with unofficial translations too. So like that's another thing is that he's not like the NCAA striking this saying like, "Hey, idiots, don't do that." And so that's just it seems like a really well thought out statement to put out. But unfortunately, there's so many people who are mad at him doing this, and there's so many people just like hating on Toby Fox, specifically from Latin America. And I'm gonna show some tweets about basically what people are saying. I'm not saying go out and hate these people. I'm just gonna show what people are saying, like the kind of odd backlash that Toby Fox is getting from the statement. So we have this one right here where Bishop says, I know Toby would never sue someone for an unofficial translation of his game, but to put it in perspective, this is more or less what this whole dilemma is like for the Latin community. And then you have some fan art, I guess, of what he said. I don't know how to speak a language, so I have no control over what is said in that language. So if I don't do the translation myself and I don't have control over what is translated, I don't want to do the translation. And he said, I know I wouldn't say a slur of any kind either, but holy cow, did you seriously make an apology letter to the Latin community in English? Come on, dude. I'm not going to learn your stupid inferior beings language. Don't even bother asking me, because if I don't do the translation, you will never have it. Translate yourselves. And you better not get carried away, because otherwise I will sue you for disgusting. I don't know if that word is allowed for me to say, but that's basically like it seems like this person is making a massive overreaction to it because like I don't know why this is how it felt to you. Like obviously once again I understand that you want a game that has become massively popular to be represented in your language and you want to understand and like be able to participate in this like and participate with this really good piece of art. But to I guess like completely overblow Toby Fox basically saying I cannot give you the best representation of my work in your language and I apologize for it. That's just kind of it seems like it's overreaction. Like this just feels like someone having a bit of a victim complex right here. And then it's just unbelievable. And then like yeah, obviously this person made a typo too, and then it's just corrected themselves saying he, my bad, I'm using a translator. I guess Toby is allergic to those too. Which the interesting thing about this is that this tweet right here specifically proves Toby Fox's point of why he does not do like this translator and like why he only does it in languages he's comfortable with, because this person specifically showed why the messaging of translated and like suboptimal translating can have an issue is because the quality control of the text can get significantly worse if you use a translator that you're not 100% confident in. And having this tweet right here specifically shows that, once again, Toby Fox is kind of right in the scenario. And then, like, it gets absolutely insane. Like, there's some crazy bullshit that people are, like, tweeting out that I need to show that, like, this is the most extreme example of I've seen someone overreacting to what Toby Fox is saying. But, like, the next thing I'm going to show you is just absolutely fucking ridiculous that someone's trying to make this claim. So you have this translated from Spanish saying Toby Fox favorite candies, and it's just a racist stereotype of black people and the KKK. Absolutely insane that this is something that you think that this is what Toby Fox thinks. And especially when it has 18,000 likes and like 2.8 million views, just completely overblowing and overreacting to him once again saying that he just wants to have the highest quality in translation and text in his work that he makes. Another one here is saying, just so you're making fun of Toby Fox, Mother 3 is such an amazing game. It really changed my life. Such a shame it never got localized to my native language. Sure, there are fan localizations, but ever since I learned Japanese, I noticed a few details that don't get translated correctly. And it's another one of like the reality versus like what it felt like. And then, I mean, they totally have the money, and they aren't lacking fans for sure. Their characters aren't smashed for crying out loud. Even if they have the trouble with the language, you know what I say. As long as you got the point, the words don't matter. And so, like, this is kind of, I guess, making once again fun of Toby Fox for not translating it, and like is calling him out for being like hypocritical for saying that he was unhappy with Mother 3 not being localized and then having to learn the entire new language. Which I guess Toby Fox did learn Japanese, like trying to attack him for learning the language because he really wanted to interact with it. Kind of doesn't work here because then like they're just kind of like making you seem like maybe you should learn, I guess, English or Japanese, but like I'm not saying once again they 100% should. Once again, they can just use fan translations. But I think this is also just like another like bad faith attack on Toby Fox, or just like, and also like using his own words against him, saying like this got the point. The words don't matter is from it's from Deltarune. And so trying to use this is like another thing that like people are just trying to attack Toby Fox for. Once again, I'm going to say this a bunch of times, wanting to ensure that the quality of his work and the quality of his art is as high as humanly possible. And he doesn't want to have any unfortunate misinterpretations that come across in a language that he does not speak. And so like a lot of these like tweets that I'm seeing are like, it's translated from Portuguese and Spanish, where like they kind of go like this. Toby Fox, the creator of Undertale, says he doesn't intend to make any official translation of the game beyond Japanese. According to him, he wants to keep the work as faithful as possible to his own vision, and he only made the Japanese version because he knows the language. Latin America was one of the regions that was most requested as an official translation, so the decision ended up disappointing many fans, especially considering that several small indie studios went to great lengths to put together good teams and closely follow this adaptation process. The situation gets even worse because an orchestral tour of the Undertale soundtrack was announced, which will go through Asia, Europe, Oceania, but won't even come close to Latin America. And from what I'm reading this, and I know this entire video is made of like misinterpreting what the fuck Toby Fox said by a bunch of people. And like from what I understand here is that this is trying to paint it as like Toby Fox is in bad faith of not wanting to do it. Obviously, he does quote him saying that he wants the work to be as faithful as possible. But like he literally says in this statement that he said like he would like to have them translated like into different languages, and he's worked with people before to see if there's a route in which they can take. But it is like not currently within his means to translate it into different languages. And this kind of just like frames it as him just completely blowing off Latin America just because like, he doesn't care enough, or especially when they have this like last little paragraph here talking about the orchestral tour not even coming close to Latin America, which in his own statement, he said he had really no control over that at all. And from what this person is saying, now obviously it's the internet, I'm trusting this person heavily on their analysis of the situation. where they say, I think it literally stems all from mistranslation. There was a tweet that blew up massively that translated Toby's post, and they said that Toby had no translations for Portuguese or Spanish, incorrect, and also said it would because he couldn't achieve his vision in any other language rather than what he actually said, which was, I want to oversee the process so the translations represent what I want my story to say as closely as possible. And so this is kind of like what I've been saying is that like Toby Fox just wants to make sure that like if it is translated in a different language, it is as close as humanly possible to like the connotation and the meaning that he has in his work. And like the fact that some people are mistranslating it by saying that like, oh, Toby Fox said like Spanish cannot fundamentally say what he wants to say in Undertale. It's just a massive like bad faith interpretation of once again him saying, "I'm sorry, I really want to do it in your language, but right now it is logistically impossible for me to translate it in a way that I think would properly get my work across to you." And then like this person is quote tweeting right here to what a lot of people are using to point at Toby Fox, and like this is what I mentioned like a little bit ago, which is saying, as long as you get to the point, the words don't matter. And then this person points out the issue with certain like getting the point and like this argument of just simply getting the point is that a reminder that the unofficial French translation used he and pronouns for Chris, ruining one of the most core parts of the message of Deltarune. And like the fact that specifically that Chris and Deltarune is non-binary is like mentioned so many fucking times, and if you don't think that's like how it is, you're stupid. And so like the fact that this like legitimately shows an issue with translating it into languages that like you're not fully confident with, especially with like French and like Spanish where they have gendered like languages specifically. And I don't think there's like been the best way to litigate how to get the gender this out of the language so that you can have stuff like Chris, who's a non-binary person in that language. That's like it kind of just proves the point that like Toby Fox is saying that like it's difficult to properly get the message across in these languages, especially if he's not 100% confident with how to properly get Chris's identity right in Deltarune if, the unofficial French translation uses the wrong language when referring to legitimately the main character of the entire game. This not only shows this, but like historically, bad translations can just fundamentally make something worse. They fundamentally make something like laughably bad. And so there's some examples of this happening. One of this is Hollow Knight and Silksong just had a massive issue when they both first released, with their translation in the Chinese. There was just like massive shortcomings in what was actually trying to get across. One that being like this person says, Phantom not really knowing what language or what gender Phantom is, and it just entirely changed depending on the language I was in. And then Silksong just had one of the apparently worst Chinese translations humanly possible, and it took so long, like this person said, it took months to finish. That's one of the reasons why doing it in a language that you're not fully comfortable with and the quality control on translations is difficult. And why Toby Fox can just say, hey, random translation company, get this shit to Mexico and all that stuff. And Mexico, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, in Spanish and Portuguese. And then just not pay attention to this. This is like a specific reason why it's important to have massive amounts of quality control when it comes to language translation. And then another one is like there's a historically badly translated Korean JoJo fan translation that if you look at Atoll Cherry Doggy, and this is like a really emotional scene at the end of part 3. These are none of the characters' names in any capacity. Like Doggy's not even. It's kind of close. It's Iggy, Avdol. Like Kakyoin. Not even fucking possible. Like this is the issue. Once again, this is the issue with like bad quality control when it comes to translations right here. And it's like obviously there were people who were coming out and like defending or like kind of taking a side. Someone said like Toby Fox is stronger than me, bro. How the fuck is an entire quarter of the fan base gonna read? I want to make sure each translation is 100% perfect so that nothing gets lost or misinterpreted by a bilingual guy as fuck you. I'm not giving you shit. By the way, I'm gonna call you slurs. This person was trying to say that Toby Fox cares more about the themes and themes more than his fans, which isn't particularly a bad thing. The themes you don't want to make your entire work of art beholden to what the fans want, because that just might eventually become hype and aura farming. Like, I don't know, solo leveling. I don't think we want Undertale to become, or Deltarune to become solo leveling. And at least Toby Fox is not like Hakita, who's the developer of Ultra Kill, where he says it's a good thing you guys aren't designing Ultra Kill or it would suck. Imagine if Toby Fox said that to the Undertale fans, they would fucking burn down his entire house. And like another thing I do remember from Akita, which is who is the developer of Ultra Kill. Jesus, I remember him like, and I've seen a clip of him like, I don't even know, it was like a podcast or something where like someone said, parrying's too difficult. Can you do something about that? And he just said, "Get good, asshole." At least Toby Fox is not doing that. Like, I mean, what Akita did was really fucking funny. But I'm saying, like, the Undertale fans who have an issue with how Toby Fox is handling this would not survive a single second with a dude who isn't like Toby Fox, who is like as nice and as deliberative as possible in his like communication with his fans about what is going on. And so this all kind of comes out of like people making a mountain out of a molehill and like potentially just mistranslations, making a massive deal out of something that Toby Fox literally said that he doesn't want mistranslations to like make stuff hard to interpret or make stuff like more difficult to interpret. And so like it's just a bunch of people getting mad about them not understanding what the fuck Toby Fox said. And so in a situation that started with someone saying he wants to communicate the themes as best as humanly possible, there's so many people who are getting mad at this because they missed the theme of what the fuck Toby Fox said, which is really ironic. But I thought Toby Fox did a really good job at explaining why he doesn't translate it into other languages yet. Because once again, he says like he's tried to look into options for translation, and he also like is not against unofficial translation. He's not like DMCAing them or some shit. And so just overall, an issue was being made about a bunch of people who got mad about them just not understanding what the hell Toby Fox was saying. And so that's what I got to say for today. So thank you for watching. Goodbye.